of the Nigerian child. What next? Nigeria, the largest black country in the world, has a population of about 200 million people, of which approximately half are children. In 2003, Nigeria adopted the Child Rights Act to domesticate the 1989 United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Although passed as an act on the federal level, the Child Rights Act 2003 is only effective if state assemblies codify it. Some states have been unwilling to do so, which means the 2003 Act has therefore had little effect on children's rights across Nigeria due to this lack of implementation among other states. 17 years after the Act, there is still not one unified provision of national force that truly protects and promotes the welfare of children in Nigeria. Lagos State was one of the first to adopt the 2003 Act, which became the Child Rights Law 2007. Millions of children continue to lack the essential services that can ensure their survival at birth or reduce their vulnerability. Millions continue to live in extreme poverty with poor or no health care. About 13 million Nigerian children, according to the National Child Labor Survey, have been subjected to trafficking and different kinds of labor, ranging from employed labor to hawking, and being the breadwinner for families. These children, ranging from age 0 to 17, are moved from one state to the other, and some across borders to work as servants, sex slaves, criminals, and some others for religious rituals. In some circumstances, the child has to beg for alms to fend for him or herself. These children are exposed to sexual assaults and dangerous diseases of different kinds. Overall, statistics show that 6 out of 10 Nigerian children will have experienced some form of violence in their childhood. Currently, about 13.2 million Nigerian children aged 5 to 14 years are not in school. This is the highest in the world, even though primary education is officially free and compulsory. Non-school attendance is not the only concern regarding education. Both teachers and students frequently have to cope with poor physical infrastructure, with inadequate sanitation and hygiene, where students are squeezed into overcrowded classrooms in which some have to sit on the floor or stand outside.
Okay, if I was to think of 3 things in regards to children that I would love to see happen in Nigeria, it would be to have a national database for children. I think it would be wonderful to have proper records of children. So child registration is so key. Once we have that going everywhere in every state, I think that would be really wonderful. Another thing is to see the universal primary education for children happen. That would be another wonderful thing, to see that every child is actually in school, even if it's just at the primary level. And I think the third thing will be to have a wonderful uniform Children's Rights Act that goes right across the country, not just one that obtains in a state and doesn't obtain in another state. I think because children move around a lot in Nigeria, so it would be wonderful to have one uniform law that covers the child wherever that child is throughout the whole country. So those are the 3 things that I think would be very important for us to see.
I just thought it was such a lovely idea that, you know, somebody would just come up and think that we need to look at the underprivileged, the disadvantaged in society. Because if you look at Nigeria with its vast resources and everything that it's got at its disposal, you've still got such a large number of people living in poverty and destitution and just living in slums and so on. And that's particularly more so when, for instance, a family you've got families where the father has passed on, is a widowed family, and all these kind of things. The life that the children live, the family live. It's so sad to see this kind of thing. They can't do anything, and they seem to be trapped in this cycle. Nobody to help. And when Kemi said, "Oh, these are the kind of people she was looking to help," I just said, yes, this is just it. This is the kind of thing we need. We need to show people how to help others. We need to show people, look, don't just concentrate on yourself. Look outward. See how you can reach out to other people.
Okay, one of the things we would really love to see and what we would love to achieve as Yeshua's Arm, as an organization, as a child's rights organization, is to raise awareness, information sharing, bringing members of the public on board. A lot of training needs to be done. People need to know about children's rights. People need to understand child protection. Safeguarding children is really key, and we feel that the more we train different types of community groups, faith-based groups, bringing people into alignment with what the law says about children, the more people know, the more parents come on board, the more we train parents on parenting issues, the more knowledge they have and understanding they have, the easier it will be to protect our children. So we want to do lots of training in the community especially.
When people ask, how do a person abuse a child? I ask, how do good people not do anything about it? There is no greater inhumanity in the world than abusing or belittling a child. Focus on the welfare of the child shouldn't just be left for a particular group or sector, but for every well-meaning individual.
We must begin to make the rights of the most disadvantaged, vulnerable, and excluded children to health, education, protection, and equal opportunity a major priority. We must strategically plan for change. Every Nigerian child matters, and if as a people and a nation we can make the child's best interest of primary consideration, one child at a time, one day at a time, we will not only be serving the rights of children, but we will also constructively be shaping our future